Thank you so much, Amy, for helping us see what joy and play can look like in our classrooms across our state. Those video examples, most of those came from Michigan classrooms. What a privilege to have spent the morning with you thinking through some of these ideas and making some considerations of what this learning can look like for our own children. We have about 10 or 15 minutes before we head into lunch, and we're going to come back to that team time again. Just like we did this morning, we're going to give you 3 options of choices to utilize that time. That first option is going to be, I think it's slide 40 something. The first option is going to be to go back into your workbook and work on activities 1 or 2 or both. The second option, if your group chooses, would be to think about the work. Oh, that's not what I expected to be there. Think about the work that you have been thinking about, like whatever your plan is, and continue to plan forward. I have one group in the back of the room that talked about building a leadership team. They said that our next step is to build a leadership team, and they're problem solving of where they're going to find the math leaders because they have a lot of literacy leaders. And so we thought through some problems, but their next step right now in this moment might be to read organizational practice number 1 with their team and think about how might we infuse some of these ideas into our plan moving forward for this year. That was option C. And then option B would be to take some time to just process some of these ideas that Amy lifted into the room today. She helped us make so many connections to the work that Maisie and Deborah brought to the table yesterday. But then she also lifted into the room this idea of play and joy and tinkering in our classrooms. And thank you, Amy, for connecting that to other practices as well. So you've got a lot of ideas that are probably lifting inside of your mind, but also within your team. And so we're going to give you some time just to process. Choose one of those 3, and we'll come back together in 9 minutes, where I'll give you one whole group reflection action step. Okay, so go ahead and make a choice as a team or individually, and we'll come back in 9 minutes. I'm going to ask you to pause your conversations in about 15 seconds. We hope this morning met some of the needs that you had expressed in our feedback form yesterday. You had some opportunity to get up, play some games. We had a break. You were able to collaborate with your teams. We gave you a bit more team time and provided with some choice. How's the temperature? Cold. We're going to work on that. We'll keep on working. It's chilly in this space right here, but I didn't feel so chilly back there, so we will keep working on that. Okay, I'm going to invite one person from each team to respond to a discussion wall in the app. You don't all have to do this, but we would love to just kind of get a feel for where your teams are at this point. So if one of you is willing to open up the app, it'll show up on the screen here in a second. And inside of the app, we want you to choose the discussion wall. Just the plain discussion wall. The first post there should be one from Rusty. What are some things that you're thinking about or grappling with? What are you planning to do next? Feel free to post a question or a next step or an idea that you're holding. You can click that comment button. And two things would be helpful: a response to the prompt, and also, would you tell us where you're from? The reason we're asking you to tell us where you're from is because if others are thinking about those same ideas, this is a great way for you to go and find those people and connect before you leave here tomorrow. Okay, so it might look like I'm from Genesee ISD, and I'm thinking really hard about what my first steps are as a new consultant. So I'm looking for some friends. That's one conversation I had. Okay. Go ahead and post that. Decide what you're going to post, and then go ahead and post those. Sure, will you scroll back up to the prompt? You'll find it right in the discussion wall. We have 11 comments, a few likes. We have about 40 teams across the state. Now, as you are getting prepared to step out for lunch and fix your plate, we have over 200 of you here on site in Traverse City. So I would encourage you to read through some of those and possibly respond to a friend or two. An easy way to respond is to just say, like, @Angela, and post a response right in that discussion. That will help you to connect because you can't reply to an immediate comment. All right, and with that, I'm going to send you to lunch, but let me tell you first what your goal is when you're making your lunch plate today. There are a few choices for salads out there. It's a Mexican buffet. There's a Southwest salad that had corn and guac, some avocado, some lettuce, lots of good stuff in that one. There's also a street corn salad. You'll find an opportunity on your plate, or maybe you won't, for cornbread. If you would like to make a taco or a burrito, there are fixings with a flour shell. There's also tortilla chips for those who prefer. And then for dessert, there is a Mexican flan. If that's not your thing, I'll let you know there will be another snack, and it's super sugary this afternoon. So save some room when you're ready. Lunch is ready. We'll come back in about an hour.